Okay, so we're back again. We're doing some memory training and just going to go through the memory effectiveness. So last video I talked about how to make your memorization effective, and we're going to look at that but in a way that you can actually train for. So instead of me telling you that you need to use your senses or you need to be able to visualize and exaggerate, we're going to see how that works from a training perspective. So I'm on Memory League at the moment, so memoryleague.com. If you don't know what that is, it's a fantastic site to not just train your brain, but you can also use it to compete with people around the world, which is really cool. So if I go onto the website here, there you go. There's some information there, Memory League. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on about it. You can check it out yourself. Okay, so we've got cards, names, images, numbers, international names and words. So I'll go through numbers because with numbers, you're going to have to do a little bit of extra work. And if you watch my other videos, there is a system called the major system where you're encoding letters of the alphabet into digits and numbers. Well, the other way around. You're encoding the digits into letters, and by combining two digits together, you can create a word. So a little bit of extra effort, but let's just go into the numbers here. So I'm just going to go into custom and we're going to look at memorizing 20 digits. Okay, now I just set the memorization max time to 30 minutes, and I just sort of leave that to the highest it can go because it's, you don't have to worry about time and stuff like that. So, some people have it there for 30 seconds or 1 minute, but we want to make sure that, we're not worried about time. We're just going to be worried about training and practicing these skills. So I've got 20 digits to memorize. I'm just going to hit start. And the way that I memorize at the moment, because I do a lot of memory coaching, is I do 4 digits at a time. So I'll explain how that works once we go through it. So I'll just skip this. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and show you how to improve your effectiveness, because we're not really trying to memorize. We're just trying to make sure that the story is a lot stronger. So let's go through that. Now, if I look at the major system, and I'll put that up on the screen, number 25 makes the word N and L. So for me, I have the word nail, right? Nail. I have nail, and 16 is a T and D, and 6 is a shit, jut, chut. So my 16 is a DJ. So I've got nail and DJ. Now, instead of just saying, oh yeah, nail and DJ, make a story move along, what we want to be able to do to make that memorization more effective and say, okay, so what are we talking about when we look at nail, right? Is it nail on your fingers? Right? Is it hammering a nail? What sort of nail is it? So we have to be able to get a lot deeper into the situation. Don't just think of nail and an image. Think of nail as an experience. So whatever images you see here, try and think of them as an experience, because that's what you're going to remember. You're going to remember the detail of that story rather than just see an image. Because again, some people work with seeing images, but you want to be able to really grab that recall fast. So nail for me is, let's say I'm hammering a nail and it's making a noise. The nail is long. I may even chip into my thumb while I do it. So I experience a little bit of pain. Do you see where I'm getting at? So I'm making that really more lively. DJ. Now, if I look at DJ, I'm thinking of, okay, do I know a famous DJ? One of my friends is a DJ, and he's the best in the world, that I believe anyway. And I know who he is. I know how he looks. His music's awesome. So I'm visualizing him and my experience with him, right? And I can just see him playing at the clubs or wherever he plays. Probably not so much now in COVID, who knows? But he's a famous DJ, and I can just hear the sounds, the music. This guy, he's scratching the records. I don't know what they do these days, right? So I try and visualize the experience of a DJ, right? So let's do another 2. We've got 05 and 59. So again, 0 is an S or Z, and 5 is an L. So you can have the word silly, or sail or sole. So sole, you can have soles of your shoe, or you can have soles of your feet. I actually have a really big sale sign. I don't know where this came from. Probably from my experience. I used to just live off a major street full of shopping, and I used to see sale signs everywhere. So sale for me is this big sale sign, as I was mentioning earlier, just from my experience. And that really gets me visualizing this huge sale sign. It's red and it's flapping about in the wind, right? It's really big and really windy, and it just says sale. It's a white, big white font, red background, just says sale. So that's what I have in my image. And I'm trying to use, again, movement in there because the big sale sign is moving around. It's almost like a flag, if you can visualize it that way. And then 59 is L and B, or L and P, so you can have lap. You can have, but my 59 is actually elbow, so you can have a letter before the L as well, because E is not really in the major system. So you can have elbow. Right? Now, do I just visualize my elbow and move along? No, I have to touch my elbow, feel what it's like. If I hit my elbow somewhere, if I hit my funny bone, what does that feel like? Do you see where I'm getting at? So that's a really good way of training. Let's do another one. So here we've got 20 and 40, right? So 20 for me is nose and 40 is rose, right? So is it just as easy as saying I smelt the roses? Not necessarily. Remember, you have to be able to visualize the nose. Is it really big? You can exaggerate the noses, right? Has it got hair sticking out of it? Has it got blackheads, right? Is it knocked about? Has it been punched? Right? You know how the nose goes sideways if it's being punched? So you can have that. And a rose. Can you smell a rose? Or is it a bunch of roses? Is it from The Bachelor? Is it a bachelor rose? Right? What does it look like? Is it a rose garden? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? Has it got thorns? Have you been pricked by a rose thorn before? Right? So we're trying to make it memorable every time. Now, this is how I go about it. I just go through the digits one by one, and then I do that for a number of minutes. Right? Now, what that does, it actually warms up your brain before you start actual memorization. And this is really a fundamental skill, believe it or not, to help you get into the zone a lot quicker. Right? There's a lot of people out there that they want to be able to say read or speed read a lot better, or they just want to get into the zone with their work, but you find it hard. You find it difficult at the start to really get into it. By doing this exercise, you're training your brain. You're training your muscles to just get in there and have a go, right? Play around, create some imagery, and once it's gotten the hang of it, and then you start memorization, or then you start reading or communicating or whatever you're doing, you're going to get it. It's really powerful stuff. So let's just go through it again, and I'll show you other ways of doing it as well. Okay, this time I'm going into names. So I'm going to do some custom name training. So let's say I'll do 20. Why not? Let's do 20. And again, I'm just going to max out the time here and see how we go. Okay, so same thing applies here for training your brain, priming it for warm-up. So here we see Matthew. Now, with Matthew, right, if you've gone through my other videos on how to remember names, it is a lot to do with word association, right? If you know Matthew, connected to this Matthew, right? One of my favorite football players, Matthew Richardson, right? I'm going to visualize him kicking the football into this guy's head. In fact, he kicked it so hard that it took off his, the top part of his hair, right? The football just went through his top part of the head, right? So there's an association right there. Now, that's memorization, but with names, again, you can sort of have fun with it. You can make the story and play around. Remember, we're not under any time pressure. If you do the other name scenario with the standard option, then you have to level up. That gives you a 1 minute countdown. So we're not doing that. What we're doing now is just training our brain to make up stories. So let's go to the next one. Fred. So you're probably thinking Fred Flintstone, or maybe Fred. So what you can do with Fred is, I'm going to picture the Flintstones because I like the Flintstones. It's been a while since I've seen the Flintstones. What's on now? Simpsons? But anyway, I can imagine this guy. he's in his vehicle, which where they have to use their feet to move along. So you can imagine him, this guy Fred, moving along in the car, running with his feet. So that's Fred. Next one, Sharon. So Sharon is an interesting one because in Australia here we call Sharon Shazza. So, we can just see she's Shazza from Frankston or something like that. No offense to Frankstonians. We love you guys. So Sharon Shazza, again, I have to be able to picture a Shazza. What does a Shazza look like? Now we're getting into Bogan territory. So for those not in Australia, don't worry about that one. So do we know a Sharon, a famous Sharon, Sharon Stone, or Sharon as in sharing? She doesn't like sharing. Or maybe she does. She's got really happy eyes. She's smiling at you. So maybe she wants to share something with us. Maybe she's sharing a donut. I don't know. But she loves sharing. And then you can make up the story from there. So let's go move to the next one. Patricia. Now with Patricia, you can actually break up her name. You could say Pat. Right? You don't have to worry about Risha. Right? You can if you want. But you don't have to worry about Risha. So you could say Pat. So maybe someone patted her a bit too much on the mouth and she lost a tooth, right? You can play with this little bit here, play with the teeth, right? Or she just loves patting Patricia's. She loves patting Risha's. Again, you can back that up if you want, but we're just having fun, right? The whole aim, as you would have noticed, is just to enjoy this process of warming up your brain, using your imagination, and just letting go. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the most amazing association. As you can see, my stories and associations aren't that great, but I'm just having fun. I'm just enjoying myself. So jump on Memory League, or open up magazines, or get on social media and just play with people's names. You don't have to be on Memory League. This is just where I train my memory and stuff, but you can get on any other website and just have a play around. I'll just go through some other ones really quickly now as well. Tiffany. So I could think of Tiffany's rings, right? Or breakfast at her place, breakfast at Tiffany's, right? She looks like she can make a mean breakfast. Bill. I can picture him with a really big nose, a bill, like a duck bill, or he's giving me a bill. The mortgage bill, or water bill, or gas bill, or whatever it is. Bill, come on, Bill. Or the science guy bill, looks like a bill. Eileen. So, there's a famous joke out there. I'm not sure if everyone knows. I don't want to give too many dad jokes, but what do you call a lady with one leg? Eileen. So maybe she's got one leg, right? Who knows? Apologies for all the Eileens out there. It's just a joke I heard a while ago. So no animosity towards the name Eileen. It's just an association I had back in high school days. So I can imagine her leaning to the side. Eileen. Charles. So you can think of Prince Charles for this beautiful man. But he doesn't look very happy. So maybe Prince Charles stole his thunder or something like that. And painted his hair brown. Looks like he flew in somewhere. Harlan. Now, I've never heard of that name before. But you can think, okay, Harl or Har. He's saying his name too. Har. Harlan. So I can think of him maybe being a pirate. Har. Or Har-in. Sort of looks like an I as well. Capital I. But I can play around with that. So as you can see, I'm not going to go through all the names now. But as you can see, playing around, visualizing, using word association, you can come up with a lot of great ideas to train your brain. And remember, you don't have to fully memorize something. You can just play around, do it for a few minutes, do it for 10 minutes. You don't have to do it for too long. And then once you've done this exercise, then go out and try and memorize, or then go out and try and study, right? Because if you use these skills to prepare yourself, it's going to help your brain a lot more. And the reason why I'm showing you this, right, the main reason why is that for 6 years straight, I tried to win the Australian Memory Championships, and I kept coming second. Once I came last, but that was because I was trying to go for every record and didn't succeed. So what I was doing was I was just using memory techniques. I wasn't really focusing on the preparation and the warm-up for my brain. Then the 7th year, I decided to warm up my brain. I'd use these exercises, and what happened was I started remembering everything. It was amazing. And I won 4 years straight for the memory competitions, and it wasn't even close. So there you go. It's an amazing thing to be able to do. Practice using visualization. Jump on Memory League if you want, or every other site, like social media and so forth. Play around, because you can do some really cool stuff, and let me know how it goes as well. Subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of cool stuff like this coming up. If you do like it, subscribe, share, like, all that sort of stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.